This is Jack Freeman, and you know I got soul.
All right, you know I got soul here with Jack Freeman, performing here at SOB tonight as part of Soul Village. I want to start out in your origins of music. You know, you've been on this journey as a musician for some years now, but take us back to the beginning and when you first started pursuing, you know, a career as a musician.
It started for a long time. I played college football. Well, for a long time I played football, period. But played college football for 2 years, and when I left the school, I was at University of Texas El Paso. When I transferred, I went down to Prairie View A&M, HBCU, not too far out of Houston, and I was just wondering what I was going to do next. And I always knew I could sing, but I wasn't quite sure I could write music, so I tried it. And it's really as simple as it got. I actually started doing music with the rap group out there called the Nice Guys. You know, they're actually from U of H, but those are some friends that I knew through my cousin, and they were the only people I knew that were really like making music that was kind of like allowing me in. And so I wasn't necessarily in the group, but I was kind of like with the crew a little bit. Right. So we would perform everywhere around the city and open up for everybody. And actually, my first time in New York was for CMJ Festival in 2010, doing that with them. And so I started off, you know, doing hooks for them every now and then from there, it snowballed into other Houston rappers, one records, Killer Callion, and working with Slim every now and then, and a lot of different indie artists and stuff like that, snowballing into me eventually doing something with Scarface last year. But between that, I was doing so much solo music and working on my writing and working on my thing, and just kind of like experimenting and seeing how far I could go with it. And the last 7 or so years has been really, it's taken me on a different path than what I thought football would have taken me. So, it's been fun, man. It's been a lot of fun.
It's interesting reading your bio. College student, football player, personal trainer, singer. What's the most challenging of all those things? Comparing personal training to singing, which one do you think is more of a challenge?
I think I think every field has its level of difficulty. So like with football, you had the issue of like your time is managed by playing college sports. You wake up at this time, you do this, you go to class at this time because it structures around the football schedule. With training, it came down to I was so young doing it that I was training guys that were almost my age, and but that was probably the easiest thing because it was just working out. I was just teaching people how to work out and making them more explosive and and faster and stronger. And I did that for a very brief time. But the music, to me, is a little bit harder because the good thing about it is that artistically you can kind of do whatever you want to do, but structure-wise, if you're not driven to actually get up and actually do the work, then nothing's going to happen for you. And sometimes even when you are doing the most that you can, it just takes a little bit longer for it to bubble. And with football, it's immediate results. Or track, you run faster than the next guy, you won. You score more points than the other guy, you win. Here you could have a great song and you don't always win. Or you could just have something that people really like, and it's hard because there's so many. You realize how many people there are actually in the world, and so you're thinking that if 100 people heard it or 1,000 people hear it, there's like 7 billion other people in the world, and you got to remember that, and you always know that there's something new for you to strive for. And that's just the hard part, is just staying creative and having the drive to stay creative, even when your life isn't always the way you want it to be. There's not as much stability in it starting out, so you got to do that thing where you work the jobs and work the the side gigs and do stuff you don't really want to do so you could kind of stay afloat. So I think it all has its difficulties, but music is definitely the hardest. definitely.
And being a former athlete, how did that competitive drive as a football player help translate to you as a music artist? What can you take from that experience into your craft as an artist?
It's the work ethic that that you get from it, because that work ethic makes you the competitive guy that you are. So you hear a song like, and you're like, man, why didn't I write that? Or, dang, man, he did that before me. Or like, you know some of the things that you want to do with your career that you would like to see yourself doing, and then you see somebody else do it right before you, and you're like, damn. Or you do something before somebody else does, and you're like, I got him. But, you know, so that drive that you get as an athlete, you waking up, you hitting those weights, and you running the routes, because I play receiver. You running those routes, and you running them workouts like you gotta win. And even sometimes your friends are on the other team, or sometimes your friends are on the track with you, and you gotta beat them. And some of my friends are in the music industry, and I want to do more than they do. You want to see them do well, but you want to get your own thing going. Right. So it's almost the same thing, man, just minus the contact.
Right. You know, it's interesting to hear your sound. You know, as a younger R&B artist, you know, you've got some of those more throwback soulful sounds, but you mix it with some of the more modern contemporary sounds. So talk about the balance of, you know, staying true to yourself and also trying to be commercially relevant.
It's that's definitely a tough one, because I'm try to be so true to myself that, you know, sometimes it doesn't always translate commercially. And it's kind of, it is about balance. It's about having the balance, and if you want to go where you want to go, it's about finding the happy medium of being true to yourself. And you know, I guess people like to say they sneak the medicine in with the candy. So, you know, you want the beats to be right for everyone to bounce to, but you also want those lyrics to be right too. So when you're singing about love, you want to be able to make sure that the love is said in such in a manner that nobody's really heard before, so that it doesn't sound repetitive. And you know, I try not to chase the commercial success so much, because I do want to be true to myself. But I do hear what's going on out there, and I you know, can kind of adapt to it a little bit. I think that's one of the beauties of me being able to do music with other artists, with other rappers and stuff like that, because I kind of get a chance to do some of that stuff that I don't really get to do with my own music sometimes, or I don't do because it throws off the balance of everything. You know what I mean? So, you know, working with rappers kind of helps me balance that out a little bit.
Yeah. So take us up to speed on what you're currently working on and what you got coming out.
I got a single coming out in the next, you know, couple weeks or so, hopefully. A song called Passing Me By. I got another song featuring a guy from Houston named DeLorean. It's called Carousel. So I have an EP getting ready to drop pretty soon once we get the single rolling. And then from there, I've already started working on my next album. I just try to stay working and stay moving, and you know, hopefully more work, more travel, you know, all of that good stuff. Finding new producers that I like, and getting in the studio with them and coming up with some good sounds. Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Man, I appreciate y'all having me. You know, it was good to be at SOBs, man. I'm loving it. You know, I appreciate you guys, man. Definitely.
And